sometimes called Delegation of Duties Log. So this log, it documents responsibilities assigned to research team members and their dates of involvement in the project. This is, I hate to say this is very important because all these documents are very important, but this Delegation of Authorities Log, the reason it exists is to let an auditor know who everyone is that's involved in the study and what their signature looks like and what their initials look like. And this is because in the source documents, as we know, clinicians sometimes write very sloppy, and they sign sometimes very sloppy, almost undecipherable, some of these signatures and initials. So if you're an auditor that walks into a site for the first time and you keep seeing these initials on source documents, but you don't know who it belongs to, the idea is, in theory, you can go to the Delegation of Authority log in the investigator site file and try to find which initials match with what you're seeing. So it's very important that this actually is there from a pragmatic standpoint of trying to find, if you remember the Alcoa, the first A is attributable. So the Delegation of Authorities log is one of the only ways to be able to do this properly, to match the initials or the signature from one that's undecipherable in the source. So that's a practical reason why it's there. The regulatory reason why it's there is it basically lets the FDA know who the PI assigns for which assessments. And only if you're on this log and been assigned or been delegated that particular assessment can you then actually do that assessment, actually conduct that assessment. And you can take it even a step further, which is what sponsors and CRAs should look at. Only if they're properly qualified, only if the staff is properly qualified to do that particular assessment. So a great example of this is physical exams. Okay, now in the United States, every state has its own guidelines for who can do a physical exam, who can do a blood draw. So that the CRA will need to confirm if this person listed on the Delegation of Authorities log, even if the PI delegated them to do physical exam, it has to be consistent with the state requirements for personnel that are allowed to do physical exams. So for example, can a study coordinator be delegated to do a physical exam? Well, I think in every state, the answer is no. The answer for most states is an MD or a DO or maybe a nurse practitioner or a registered nurse. But usually it's not a study coordinator. Okay, and the states usually have their requirement that you must be licensed to do these certain assessments. So this is where the CRA needs to understand the local laws as well. If you are ever in doubt with regards to the Delegation of Duties log, it's better that you ask than if you just assume that it's okay. Because sometimes PI may think, well, this is research, we're not really treating anybody, so I can have my coordinator do a physical exam. And that's most of the time not okay. Matter of fact, I think all the time it's not okay. So that's the delegation log, very important, but these are the reasons why it's important from a practical perspective.